Greetings petrolheads, welcome back to Automation, the car company tycoon game. So yesterday it appears that the Komodo won the head-to-head. So today we're going to be seeing a head-to-head of the Marvel, which was made by, let me check, that was the INB 7116, and then the BGTC Calgeta by LM. Okay, sorry, I didn't remember the names of the people who built it. Way too many cars being sent in recently, not just for the BGTC. Well, that's already over, of course, but way too many names of players to remember. Sorry, I can't. My brain has only so much capacity for stuff like that. So the Marvel, isn't it a marvelous looking car? I mean, it's a unique looking car, definitely. Certainly a lot more aggression in this design than on any other car we've seen so far, I think. And kind of with these, with the hood vents here, that kind of reminds me a little bit of the Pontiac Trans Am replica that I did in 1996, I think it was, 97, something like that. You know which one I mean. And yeah, so let's check out this car. We have a steel monocoque, partial aluminum panels. We have rear drive, fast speed manual, double wishbones are around. 246 horsepower from a 3.6 liter twin turbo V6. So this is an all aluminum V6, 88.5 times 98.7, so really high stroke. And we'll talk about the power and torque curve in a second. 4 valves per cylinder, dual overhead cam. Cast iron crank, I-beam steel conrod, forged pistons. And for the cam profile, a ball bearing wanted air large intercooler, a pretty big turbine compared to the compressor size, and multi-point EFI performance intake running on premium gas, 6000 RPM redline, and a single exhaust pipe, high flow freeway cat, and 2 reverse flow mufflers. Now 246 horsepower and 321 pound-feet of torque. Obviously that torque number is not bad, but where it comes in at 3000 RPM, that's a little too late on an engine that makes its peak power at 4600 RPM. Sure, the power band is pretty even between like 4 and 6000 RPM, and that's the whole idea of this tune, I suspect. But I think that it would have been a little bit better to go for a slightly lower boost that's going to lower your torque, and a slightly lower turbine size, and then up the AR ratio. That way you would have the turbo kick in earlier with less torque, but you would have a more even torque curve, and then the peak power would come in a little bit later, but you could still set it up so that it's pretty even up to the red line. And that, I think, would have been the better choice. So we have a 5-speed manual, we have a geared limited slip diff, we have 235mm sport tires all around on 18-inch steel rims. Is that the first time we've seen steel rims? I feel like it is. Also, I think the first time we've seen 18-inch rims, so a couple of news here. 3 piston vented discs up front with 360mm discs. Wow, that's pretty big. And then 2 piston vented discs on the rear with 255s. And again, huge gap between front and rear brake disc sizes, and that's just how Automation likes it best for drivability and also sportiness. fully clad on the tray, 4 seats, luxury interior, luxury entertainment, power steering, ABS, traction controls, standard 80 safety, and air suspension. So all of that is going to add up to a 46.4 drivability, 41.6 sportiness, 42.1 comfort, 46.3 prestige is pretty good, 43.3 safety. So all of these stats are above 40, which is pretty good. But none of them, I mean, drivability is good for a turbo car, even with this kind of weird turbo setup. Sportiness is also one of the highest we've seen so far. Comfort is fairly low. And prestige is good because, well, it's got a big V6 and a pretty good top speed. I don't actually know why this is higher than on like some of the big V8 cars we've seen. No clue. So this will do the quarter mile in 14:25, which is good. Again, I think it could be a little bit better with a different turbo setup, though I might be wrong. I don't know. And it costs $32,100. Running costs are gonna be $3,451. So this is actually on the upper end of the scale. So we haven't seen many cars that are more expensive to run than this. The stats overall are quite decent, but especially in terms of comfort, it's not the best. It's also pretty expensive to run. It also does much better in the super and even the hypercar category on the markets than it does in the GT and GT premium markets. So that's kind of how I feel like. That's kind of how I feel about this car. I mean, comfort is decent again, but I don't know. I don't know. You guys tell me what you think about it. Maybe I'm completely wrong and this is actually completely fine as a GT car. So now we're gonna look at the BGTC Calgeta. First impression, look at these stats. There we go. That's what I like to see in a GT car. Let's get into the details though. Corrosion resistant steel monocoque partial aluminum panels, 5-speed manuals, the wishbones are around, I sound like a broken record. 220 horsepower from a 3.5 liter naturally aspirated V8. Let's check this out. Single overhead cam with 3 valves per cylinder, full aluminum barking head, forged steel crank, forged H-beam conrods, forged pistons, forged everything. 45 cam profile, pretty high compression ratio, 10.3. It's pretty good for 87. It's naturally aspirated. We have multi-point injection, 14:1 fuel mixture, 5800 RPM redline. Because above that it's starting to get the slightest bit of valve float. I feel like you could have just ignored that a little bit and went for like 6200. Because yeah, the reliability would go down to 60.9 from 61.4. That's not a big deal. Tubular headers, but it would increase performance by quite a bit, I think. And then high flow freeway cat, 1 reverse flow and 1 baffled muffler. I think that's the first time we've seen a baffled muffler in this competition. Mainly because they don't really do anything better than the reverse flow or straight flow muffler, except for maybe they're cheaper. Anyway, 220 horsepower, 226 pound-feet of torque. Reasonable numbers. Not outrageous, but not bad. 5-speed manual, viscous limited slip diff, sport compound road tires, 15-inch alloys, 225s up front and 235s on the rear. We have 3 piston vented discs up front, 1 piston vented discs on the rear, and then a semi-clad under tray. Looks like we have a little bit of a lip on the front. No, why does it have 36 wing angle then? That doesn't matter. It doesn't have any aerodynamic fixtures. Unlike the Marvel before it, that had all the aerodynamic fixtures. 4 luxury seats, luxury cassette, power steering, ABS, advanced safety, air suspension, 54.9 drivability, 35.1 sportiness, 48 comfort, 42.1 prestige, 45 safety. And let's check out the performance now. Okay, so that's 6.4 seconds 0 to 100, 14.94 a quarter mile. So it's quite a bit slower than the Marvel, but that's to be expected because it's almost it's actually the Marvel is what I meant to say is about 200 kilograms heavier. However, it makes like 100 pound-feet more torque from that V6, and this car also seems to have quite a bit of, it seems to have quite long gearing, and the engine doesn't make like that much torque, but you know, this works with a larger displacement engine that makes more torque, and it'll be fine on acceleration. But this car could benefit from slightly shorter gearing, I think. And let's see, it costs 34,200, so it's about 3,000 more expensive, I think, than the Marvel. It does significantly better in GT though, and it's more expensive to run. So better drivability and comfort versus better sportiness, better prestige, better performance, and cheaper running costs. I feel like I'm gonna have to give this to the Marvel, don't I? Like, what do you guys think? This does make quite a bit more drivability and comfort though, whereas the Marvel only has like, actually it has like 6 more sportiness and 4 more prestige. It's gonna be a tough choice, because with the Marvel, like, none of those stats really struck out to me, maybe except for the sportiness, which at 41 point something was pretty much the highest we've seen so far. But on this car, I feel like the drivability is good, comfort is good, prestige is good. Like, it's all at least decent. And it does well in the actual GT category as opposed to, you know, I mean, it also does decently well in the supercar category, but its best category is GT, and that's what, in my opinion, it should be like. But what do you guys think? Which one of these two was better? Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you again tomorrow with another episode. Goodbye.